Hi and welcome back. So the Imagine came back from its first rental of the year yesterday. So it's time to get back into our Is It Worth It series. And if you're new, my name is Matt and we own 2 travel trailers. We've been renting them out through RV Share and Outdoorsy for the last couple of years. And I've been sharing our experiences, the pros and cons, talking about how much money we make doing this, that kind of thing. In the past, I've done more formal sit-down videos at the end of the month. This year I want to switch it up a little bit, give more real-time updates, do a couple of videos right when a camper comes back, and that way we won't forget any of the details or issues that we had. So our first rental of the year went really well, almost a best case scenario. The guy renting this is a lifelong RVer, a lot of experience with travel trailers, fifth wheels, and the reason he's renting our rig is because he put an order in on a Super C motorhome and it's not in yet. So they had a camping trip planned and needed something, so they rented our Imagine. Really nice dealing with somebody who has experience. You still do a good walk around, show them how all the systems work, but they just have a really good concept of how everything works, and it's just really smooth. And when he left, we just had a lot of confidence that our rig was going to be in good hands, and it was. He brought it back in really nice shape, nice and clean. The interior was spotless and the holding tanks were completely empty, which is really nice. That's one issue that I've talked about. Seems like especially novice RVers, they never really get those tanks 100% empty. So it was our first rental of the year. We were worried that we might be a little rusty in the process. Overall, I think it went really well. The only hiccup we had is we forgot to ask prior to the rental if his truck had a brake controller. Turns out it didn't, which isn't a problem because we do have a wireless brake controller. We use this Kurt Echo and works really well, but they are expensive. I think we paid $250, $260 for that. That was a couple years ago. I don't know how much they are now, but so if somebody does not have a brake controller, we actually charge $30 to use ours. But because we didn't ask, we just let them use it and we didn't charge them anything for it. Otherwise, the process went really well. And talking about process, one change we're doing this year versus last is, we went to a 4-day minimum. We were at a 3-day last year, and there are a lot of people out there that rent for longer periods, and it's a shame to have it go out for 3 nights when there's possibly a 4-night or a week-long rental out there. So we upped it to 4 nights, and so far I don't think that's been a problem getting customers. I'll show you our calendar here in a little bit. So even though we have a 4-night minimum, we don't want to lose out on a rental if there's nothing on the books and you're a week out or something like that. So Outdoorsy does have a rule that you can implement where you can pick your time frame, 14 days, 7 days. We have it set for 7 days. If there is nothing on the books within 7 days, you can go ahead and book a 3-night minimum with our rig. RV Share doesn't have that, like I said, but sometimes you'll get people that'll call and ask if you are willing to do a 3 or a 2-night instead of your 4-night minimum. Usually we say no if it's a ways out, but if we're only a couple days out and there's nothing happening, we'll make an exception. As far as issues with our first rental, nothing major at all. We only had 1 phone call during the rental, and that was because they couldn't get the bathroom fan on. Simple fix. The bathroom fan has the switch on the wall, but it also has another switch up on top by the fan itself. I'll show you that when we go inside. So we walked them through that. Problem solved in 30 seconds. The only other issue we had, he said that he was losing connection on the wireless brake controller. There's an app on your phone, and for whatever reason when he was driving, he said it came disconnected a couple times. This will still work. Your trailer brakes will still work if that happens. It's just that you lose the ability to adjust it. He actually had a good suggestion on what we could do to make things easier if that problem happens in the future for another renter. So to pair this to your phone, you have to punch in a pin, and we keep that on a label on the inside lid of the controller. He suggested maybe we make a label and put it on our backup camera. This is also an observation camera, and we have a couple labels on here, the height of the camper for quick reference and the recommended top speed for towing. Maybe put the pin for the brake controller on top of that. So I think we'll probably do that. The only other issue he had was the CO detector. He said that it was going off and it wouldn't stop and they couldn't silence it. He was pretty sure it wasn't a carbon monoxide problem and doesn't know why it kept going on. So I'll have to look into that. Not sure what's going on. We did put a brand new battery in before their trip, but something to look at. And if you're wondering what these are new foam inserts. We're gonna be replacing the foam in the dinette seat cushions here. We noticed our second year in that these were getting kind of uncomfortable, so I'll do a video in the near future on how we did this and where we got this product. So talking about how the season's starting out and how it's looking in the future. You know, this is Minnesota, so the RV season really does not get going until May. We did not have any rentals up to this point, and that's pretty par for the course. We did have one rental last year in March, but nothing in April, and I think we had maybe 2 in May. So this year is looking pretty similar to last year. So May of this year, you know, this was out the first weekend in May. We had the second weekend coming up here, nothing on the books, kind of hoping for a last minute rental as the weather doesn't look too bad coming up. And we're taking this out the third weekend in May, and the fourth weekend we have a rental. So 2 out of the 4 weekends this will be rented out. June, 3 out of 4 weekends are taken up, 2 rentals, then 1 family trip. July is 100% booked with 3 rentals and then a family trip. August, we have 1 rental on the books, and we have 1 in September. So I'll show you, this year I went to Google Sheets to track everything for our rentals. You know, I track the dates, and I added this year days rented. Kind of want to see the average days rented out, what that is, what platform, got a column for names. And I'm also tracking on this spreadsheet miles. So I'll put the location where each renter went, the miles next to that. In the past, I was kind of using our guest book as a way to track miles, but it just wasn't a really easy way to do it. So this spreadsheet will work nice for that. And then, you know, obviously track payments and income and all that. So I plan out for the whole year what I need to cover payments for this thing. And I go all the way to the end of April, because like I said, rentals really don't start till May. So already what's on the books this year, we do have enough to pay our insurance and payments for this rig up to April of 2023 and have an additional net profit of $1,600. Now, I can't bank on that number. Obviously, there will be things that'll come up. There'll be maintenance issues and, you know, parts that I got to get, things I got to fix. But there's also a lot of open weekends and rental days out there to book. So I'll keep you in the loop as things progress through the year. This rental here, 4 nights, after Outdoorsy's fees and everything else, we brought in $405. And the next rental coming up is going to be a payout of $432. That's a 4-night rental. So for the month of May, we'll be bringing in a little over $800. And, you know, I do get worried that people might be backing down on RV trips with gas the way it is. I think we're between $4.10 and $4.19 this week up here in Minnesota. You know, so that's something in the back of my mind. We might not get the calendar filled out quite like I want it to, but worst case scenario, if we don't get anything else booked and all these rentals that booked stick to the plan, that's okay. We've met our goal this year. So that's kind of where we're at with the season so far. And before we go, I want to talk about insurance really quick. We get a lot of questions about that. So a shout out to a channel sponsor called Romley Insurance. This is the first insurance company in the nation to provide personal RV insurance that 100% allows its customers to rent out their rigs on platforms like RV Share and Outdoorsy. I know there's always that fear that you could get dropped if your insurance company finds out you're renting out your rig. Not so with Romley. So not only do they allow renting, they actually encourage it. They have what's called a rent and save discount. Pretty much what that means is the more you rent it out, the less you're going to be using it personally, which means you're going to end up paying less. They prorate the cost. So you could actually save up to 35% on your insurance by switching over to Roamly. And you can support this channel and get a free quote by clicking on the link in the description. So otherwise, once again, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.